First things first, you need to lay your fabric piece out to cut out your front piece of your tunic. I'm going to fold it. There is a 60-inch selvage to selvage length on this fabric, so I'm folding it halfway. So, for the front part of my tunic, I'm going to do the high part of the high-low. I'm going to use the same pattern piece. This is similar to McCall's 68, 86, I think that's, or 86, 88. I'll get the right number for you. But anyway, I want it to be fitted up until under my shoulder, and from the top of my bust down to my shoulder is 16 inches. So I'm going to cut and then flare out when I cut. And from my waist down to the bottom of where I want the tunic to fall in the front will be 15 inches. So that'll be slightly under my bust, so that's 16. So I'm going to take it another 15 inches, 16 inches down from there. So I'm going to start flaring it out once I get here, and I'm going to mark it on my pattern. You lay this piece there because that's where the 15-inch mark is. So I know it's about here. So I'm going to put a pin there. Right? Now that I've done that, I'm going to begin cutting. Alright, you know what I'm going to do once I'm under my arm? I'm going to begin cutting downward and then outward all the way to the bottom where I want my tunic to fit. Hopefully you guys can see that. Now from my waist down, under my arm, down to where I want the front of my tunic to fall will be about 16, 17 inches. So I'm going to cut it until I get to here. Now I have to cut it high-low. So okay, this is the front of the shirt, and then now we're going to cut the back. And I want a 3/4 sleeve, but I'm working with scrap fabric, so I need to be careful where I cut it. So here's 1/2 sleeve, and I cut a 1/4 sleeve for another garment, so I'm going to use that. You're going to take your fabric, you're going to set it on the fold. You're going to cut out a piece. So I have laid out the top part of my tunic, and as you can see, this is how it looks on the bottom. It's not cut perfectly, but it's cut to the way that I like. And then now I'm going to lay the top part of the tunic, and then we're going to pin and sew it at the shoulders. Alright, so I'm laying out my sleeve. I can tell that this is the bottom of my sleeve where it will be hemmed because it's straight, and then this rounded curved part is the top of the sleeve. Now what I'm going to do is match edge to edge on my fabric, and I'm going to clip a notch where the middle is because I freestyled this pattern. So I need to know where I'm going to have the middle of my sleeve. That's for that piece. And then I'm going to do the other piece of my sleeve the same way. It's my other sleeve. And I'm going to clip a notch. Now that I've done that, I'm going to lay out my tunic. Of course, I didn't bring my pins over. And that notch that I clipped in my sleeve goes where the seam line is on my tunic for the shoulders. So this is where the shoulders meet. I'm going to take that notch where I made the clip. Here's the clip that I put in there. I'm going to match it up right here and then pin it down. And then I'm going to take the other side of my sleeve and then I'm going to take the end of the sleeve, match it up, pin it down, and now that I've pinned everything down, I'm going to sew it across here. Okay, I just want you to see that this is the sleeve, there's the other sleeve, front and back. What you're going to watch me do is construct the front and the back so that you can see it. We're going to pin everywhere that we are going to sew. We're going to sew down the sleeve and our side seam at the same time. I'm going to connect my sleeves seam together. I'm not going to use a lot of pins because I don't need them. I'm just going to make sure my side seam is laying flat. So I'm going to connect it here at the side seam. And then I'm going to connect the hem of the sleeve. I'm going to connect it in the middle. And then I'm going to connect at the bottom. Well, let's connect it midway. I'm going to connect it midway. And then another part of the sleeve, side seam. And then the bottom. I'm trying to connect them where there's little curves so that you can see what's going on. But I know to line it up as I'm running it through the machine. I'm going to leave this little part hanging off a little bit because I'm going to hem it right there. And to be completely honest with you, you can hem your front of your tunic before you actually connect it all together. And I'll show you what I do when I connect it. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Connect it at the underarm. And make sure they're laying flat when you sew it together.
you making?
Tunic.
What's a tunic?
Like a long blouse.
What's a long blouse? Why?
Spray my hem with a little starch so it'll stay, but I'm using this Dritz Easy Hemmer so that it's even all the way across for the hem, and I have something for my hem to tack on to, and it's just going to help it stay a little bit better. And it is actually staying, because normally I just roll and hem, and I feed it through the machine, but I want it to be even this go round, and I'm just using this hem as a guide. Using a zigzag stitch, you want to go across the hem of your fabric. It's already been pressed. Using a 1/4 inch sleeve, I'm only going a 1/4 inch sleeve, using a 1/4 inch hem, and then I'm going to sew it down. You want to slowly guide the hem of your fabric through the machine, but you want to take your time on this because this is the finished product to your garment. Don't watch the needle to your machine. Make sure you watch where you're using your lines to your fabric so that you feed it through the machine. When you get to the turn on your fabric here, make sure that you have pinned it down. When your fabric gets to a point where the front and the back part of your tunic are meeting, you should have it pinned down. And I had to start over with my stitch. My bobbin is close to the end of its thread. I got about enough left over to finish this garment, and then it's going to be over with, but let's finish. Make sure you're using a marker to guide your stuff, to guide your hem through the machine. Go slow. You want it to be even all the way around. Make sure your hem is rolled under as you feed it through. Once we're done hemming the bottom of the tunic, and the sleeves, we'll be done.